I'm gonna give my both sides of the coin in a second, but I do want to comment a little bit on a couple of things. Uh, yeah, Daniel Jones, man, you look at him, you see him in preseason, you see he throws that pick six, and you're like, man, that's just a stupid play. Has he not learned nothing in the last couple of years? But then you see a beautiful throw to him. I think it was the Jalen Hyatt on the back shoulder fade, and you're like, man. So it's like, which Daniel Jones are we getting? Like the optimism in me goes, man, this guy could be really good. You know what I'm saying? We haven't even seen him run this year. You know, in spurts. You know, we know he's really good on the ground. Obviously, got the name Vanilla Vic. Last year I kind of jumped out the window in terms of Daniel Jones. Me and not Jordy Nelson, what Greg Jennings. Me and Greg Jennings are the only people in the media who had Daniel Jones as like a top 15 quarterback in the league last year. You know what I mean? Before the season started, you know, coming off of that Vikings win and obviously getting smashed by the Eagles. But I look at Daniel Jones, and we've said this before, like, let it all hang out. There's a song back in the days for all my old heads. Pete Rock produced it by this guy named Mador. It's called Let It All Hang Out. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I feel Daniel Jones has to do this shit. Let it all hang out, man. Throw down the field. You see, Dave, the one thing I'm gonna take from preseason, and I digress a little bit from the subject, but one thing I do see and I like, and even though the preseason playbook is obviously vanilla, it's they're not showing anything. You know that all season DCs and head coaches are not showing what they're doing. It's kind of to get out there and feel the speed of the game after having all this time off and getting reps for the fucking the rookies and maybe some of the guys who are trying to make the team and shit like that. But what I do see is Skinny Dable is aggressive, man, and you see a big difference even in preseason. You see a big difference from Mike Kafka. You know what I'm saying? Going downfield, and I think there's gonna be some plays this year where you go, damn, man, like, oh shit, like holy shit, especially the Malik Neighbors. And when a guy like Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt, who are burners, who can take the top off the defense, who can interchange, who can run routes in the slot, right? Also play in the outside, you're like, that's what we need. But then you're going to see some plays. You're going to see some Brett Favre gunslinger interception type of deals too. And we can't get mad at that. As long as we see some type of consistency, like I said, let it all hang out. Take shots down the field. Go for broke. This is it. Daniel Jones. Bearded Daniel Jones. I want him to be a different type of dude than no beard Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? This is the villain, man. Let it, like, he's almost in a, I can't say Dak Prescott situation, because Dak Prescott, has gotten the bag, is a Pro Bowler, has, MVP candidate last year, but they're in a similar situation in terms of Dak gets a lot of flack for not winning playoff games. As good as he is, if I'm Dak, I let it all hang out. He's gonna get his bag. Fuck everybody else. Just let go. And I think Daniel Jones needs to do the same thing. And we're being cautiously optimistic, I feel like Daniel Jones is gonna have a decent year, and that's gonna put us even further in murky, unclear waters, and be in a conundrum. Because then what do you do? And then the flip side of it is, if he's just average, right? If he's just average, and we're a middle of the pack team, and we talked about this before, then what are we looking like in a draft? What type of quarterback can we get? You know what I mean? So this is it's very intricate, man. In a way, things are going to shake out. You know what I'm saying? I think Daniel Jones is going to have a good season. I really believe that in my heart. I think that with Kafka being aggressive downfield, with the weapons he now has, with that rebuilt offensive line, which looks stellar, by the way, they're controlling they're working together. You can see the chemistry. Shout out to Brasillo. He has them playing really good, even though, again, it was preseason. They're not showing everything, but he has them working together as a unit. You see cohesiveness, you see chemistry, you see them holding down the gaps, the run blocking, the pass blocking. It looks good so far. Daniel Jones has time in the pocket. So with that and the addition, obviously, of, the receivers, Slayton's going to be back. Slayton in a wide receiver 2 spot as opposed to a wide receiver 1 slot. It's a different look, because now you're going up against CB2s as opposed to premier corners. Neighbors is or the premier or the number 1 shutdown corners are probably going to be on Neighbors. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
And we expect big things from Neighbors, and there's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he's built like that. And Wanda Robinson, obviously looking good in the slot and run. And that whole slot is a whole different thing. The middle of the field, different routes is a whole different thing than being on the outside. Because when you're on the outside, the sideline can almost be used as a defender. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of space in the slot, right? So I think Wando's perfect for the slot. And don't get me wrong, Jalen can line up in the slot. Even Neighbors can line up in that slot. But on the outside, they're gonna be vicious. They're gonna take the top off that defense. I like the receiving core, man. You know, Hodgins is cut, then he's on a practice squad. And shout out to Hodgins, he had that really good campaign in 2022. Him and Daniel Jones really connected that year. We got the win against the Vikings, that playoff win. But if I'm just looking at the receiving core and the upgraded offensive line and the decent tight ends, I know you're big on Theo Johnson. You know what I'm saying, and I like him as well. Um, I'm excited, man. You know, I'm very excited about the offense. But like I said, I digress.